Yoga Nidra is an ancient sleep-based meditation technique that takes the effort out of meditation. Many of you know what the benefits of meditation are. You know that it reduces stress, it lowers blood pressure, it lowers your cholesterol, it slows the aging process, releases all kinds of hormones that reduce pain, increase your happiness level, improve your cognitive ability. But we find it so hard sometimes to meditate. It becomes such a struggle in itself, we end up not doing it. We end up giving up. Well, Yoga Nidra is meditation made easy. Every night when you fall asleep, there's one thing that you have to do that happens naturally. You let go of your thoughts. And if you don't let go of those thoughts, you don't fall asleep. So the body already knows how to disengage from thoughts. And Yoga Nidra follows the same process of sleep consciously, so that just as in sleep, you disengage from your thoughts effortlessly. The beauty of Yoga Nidra is that everyone can do it. It's composed of a series of body, breath, and awareness techniques that are designed to drop you from the thinking mind into the feeling body, into sensation in your body, which naturally drops you into the being state. From this being state, you can actually make shifts from subtle states of being, which will affect the way that you think and feel. This is really unique from other styles of meditation, which really just include you going to these subtle states of being, but don't necessarily allow you to make shifts from those states. So today, what I thought we would look at is how Yoga Nidra uses not only meditation, but intention to help you make these subtle shifts and why it's important. So in order to do this, we are going to look at a very quick anatomy of the body-mind complex according to yoga. So this is the physical body. This is what we're all familiar with. But what yogis believe and say is that the body is actually, the physical body that you see is actually the most dense manifestation of a series of condensations of energies, a series of vibrational energies starting with subtle, grosser, grosser, and grosser, finally resulting in the physical body. You could think of it as ether, air, steam, water, finally resulting in the ice that you see. All varying densities of the same energy, one being the final result of everything that came before. And this is actually not so different from Einstein's quote that matter is energy reduced to the point of visibility. And all of these are various condensations of energy. Right? So giving you a quick overview of these, the subtlest condensation of energy is called the Bliss Body. And as the word denotes, it feels like bliss. It feels like love. It's when you feel in your most open state, the closest to the being state that you are. The Bliss Body also holds things that we have kind of falsely attached to, impressions, experiences, things that because we have attached to them, separate us from the source that we are, separate us from that being of wholeness and completeness that we all want to experience. And when these impressions are held in the Bliss Body, they actually affect the wisdom body. And the wisdom body's job is to distinguish, it's your higher intellect, and its job is to be able to distinguish between what's true and not true, what's real and unreal. And it's your ability to see clearly. I'll give you an example in a moment. The mental body's job is kind of like your lower mind, and its job is to take an input from the outer senses, bring it in, bring it up to the intellect, and the intellect decides, well, what is this information? What does it mean? It interprets the information, sends it back to the mind, causes your body, your energy to feel a certain way, and your body feels, responds, reacts, and actually moves in a particular way. All right? So you can see that what's held at the subtle level or the causal level affects all the bodies below it and moves you in a particular way. So the question is, why in the world is this important? Right? So if we look at this body-mind complex, what you will see is through this body-mind complex, through the course of our human experiences will move in, through, and they'll move out. And those are integrated experiences. And constantly, thousands of experiences are moving in, through, and out. In, through, and out. However, there are times When experiences move in, they stick. We make a conclusion about them. They do not move through and out and are held at the level of the bliss body. And these impressions that we make conclusions about, that we get frozen around, can, when we attach to them, affect everything below it. So to give you an example, years ago, I had a student in Yoga Nidra training who had an experience that came but didn't go. And when she was little, her parents were having trouble in her marriage, and she overheard inadvertently her parents saying, maybe we never should have had kids. Okay, so that was an impression that came, but it didn't go. It stuck. And it stuck at the level of her bliss body, and the conclusion that she made around it was, I'm a mistake. So that is what she attached to as who she was, as opposed to the love and the wholeness and completeness that she is. Right? And once attached to and believed, what happens at the wisdom body is the wisdom body is compromised. The wisdom body, instead of being able to see the truth that she is a whole, complete person as she is, begins to see through the filter of, I'm a mistake. So the wisdom body creates, that's supposed to see clarity, begins to see through a distorted perception, which causes all incoming information from the mind to be interpreted via, I'm a mistake. So for example, when somebody gets up and walks out of the room, she doesn't just see somebody walking out of the room. What she sees is, I'm a mistake. When a man leaves her, she doesn't see all the things that he wasn't doing right. What she sees is, you see, I'm a mistake. So everything begins to reinforce her own belief, I'm a mistake, and begins to shape her energy body, the way that she feels about herself, the way energy moves in her own body, and actually it will begin to drive her physical action. Not only the way she physically holds her body, which is, I'm a mistake, it literally was, actually like I don't deserve to be here, but actually drove her whole action. Her whole life was designed around making up for this conclusion that she had made that I'm a mistake. Right? And so her whole life really became a continuous attempt to solve a past problem. And her whole life became shaped by an event that was meant to come and go. But because it came and never went, it became one of those steering linchpins that actually drove her thoughts, her actions, her feelings, her body, and the whole action of her life. And the question is this what you want your life to be about? Because everybody has unconscious things that we've held on to here that are literally shaping and directing the course of our life. It's kind of like as if we're sitting in a little boat, and that boat is on autopilot, and the setting is on the last thing that we attach to. And our life is, the steering of our ship, our whole life is directed by that thing. So that some of us could be still steered by proving to our parents we're good enough when our parents could be passed away. And 20, 30, 40 years later, we're still living in our boat on autopilot of proving to my parents I'm good enough. So intention then is putting your hand on the tiller of your boat, taking your boat off of autopilot and saying, this is not what I want my life to be about. Instead, this is what I want my life to be about. Consciously choosing the direction you want your life to go in. Okay? So the word for this in English that we use is intention. But the word for consciously choosing the direction of your life in Sanskrit is sankalpa, or determination. So I'm going to spell it for you. S-A-N-K-A-L-P-A. And if you look at this, what you will see is that in a certain way, when we have attached to these impressions, they are predetermining the course of our life, right? That doesn't mean you can't change it, but right now, in a certain way, our actions have been predetermined, as in that story, okay? Intention is a tool for you to determine the course of your life. I'm going to say it again. Intention is a tool for you to determine the course of your life. And that is actually the meaning of sankalpa. Sankalpa means determination. It's you deciding where your life is going to go, rather than it being decided for you based on a past impression. So now what we're going to talk about is how Yoga Nidra then is designed to use intention. Right? So a Yoga Nidra experience is designed, the way that it's structured, is to move you from the physical body, through the energy body, past the mental and the wisdom body, all the way out to the bliss body, and actually resting in the state of being. And in that state of being, you are free. You are resting as the wholeness that you are. And you are free from all these usual impressions that you're usually attached to, the things that are driving your behavior. In the deepest state of Yoga Nidra, there is no whisper of, I'm a mistake. There's just being itself. So in that state, you are temporarily free of everything you have attached to. And just as we're coming, when everything's quiet, just as we're coming back out of the being state and back into the bliss body in Yoga Nidra, we plant a new determination, a new sankalpa or intention. And because everything else is quiet, now what's up here, what you're doing is you're planting a new impression, a helpful one. And that impression now becomes the cause that creates effect in terms of the way you see the world, in terms of the way you think, in terms of the way you feel, and in terms of driving your action. You change it at the root, and every single effect changes. Right? So how is this different from using affirmations in the waking state? The issue with using affirmations in the waking state is this, and I think we all are going to recognize this. Usually what we're doing is we're planting an intention at the mental body level. So we might say, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. But the problem is, if you are holding unconscious intentions or unconscious beliefs or conclusions up here, that I really don't love myself, you can tell your conscious mind all you want that you love yourself, but underneath, what you're going to get is, I love myself. No, you don't. Yes, I do. No, you don't. And all your body is registering is internal conflict, and no change happens. Right? So what we are doing in Yoga Nidra is go to the root, change the effects. Then after, in the waking state, once you've planted it up here, you can reinforce it at the conscious level when you see yourself going down the I'm a mistake route. But plant it at the subtle, really get it planted here, and then it's going to affect everything else. The last piece that I'm going to go over with you now is the difference between Yoga Nidra and hypnosis. Because when people hear this, they often hear, well, how is that different from hypnosis? And what I'll say is both hypnosis and Yoga Nidra are both using the subtle to affect the gross. Right? The main difference, two main differences that I see is, first of all, hypnosis is really designed to work with the body-mind complex only. Okay? Yoga Nidra, so you work on getting this thing to not want to smoke or not want to overeat or make better choices within its own closed system. Yoga Nidra does do that. It does help the body-mind complex, but it's designed to help the body-mind complex so that you can realize the being that you are. So that you can transcend the idea that you are only this body-mind and recognize that you are something bigger. You are a being, you are source. So the intentions of the two processes are different. One has a really spiritual, transcendent, enlightenment intention. The other one is more to modify and shape the body-mind complex. And one of the big differences that you will see in hypnosis is the brain states. So in hypnosis, what you will see is that the left brain is actually becoming quiet and the right brain becomes more activated through the process of hypnosis. In Yoga Nidra, and this is really interesting, both halves of the brain are operating as one unit. So they're operating symmetrically and simultaneously throughout the brain. To me, what this means is that the changes are coming from a state of wholeness, a state of oneness. The unification that you are experiencing in the being state, you can use to create shifts in the physical state. Right? So in Yoga Nidra, the changes come through oneness, through the unification and the symmetry in both halves of the brain. And in hypnosis, they're happening through quieting the left and stimulation of the right brain. So I hope that this has given you a sense of how Yoga Nidra can be helpful for you and how you can use intention as a powerful tool, not just to go into meditation, but to make powerful shifts in your life and the direction of your life from that state. If you've enjoyed this video, there is a link that will lead you to more information about Yoga Nidra programs, weekends, immersions, and certification programs. All of our programs are designed to help you personally transform, to give you a context for how you may have been living your life and how to reshape the course and direction of your life. The beauty of these trainings is that you get information for yourself, but you can also receive tools to give to other people. I hope to see you soon in one of the programs. I'd love to meet you personally. Until then, Jabagwan, Namaste.